Die Helden waren nicht diese Hauptleute. Oberstand und RMC-Chef. Es waren die regulären Milizionäre und die Army Grenadiers, die der großen Armee der Welt. Taffner die Stirnboten. Lassen Sie sich nicht tauschen. They would have you believe that they are some master strategists. And they had the opportunity to prove their master strategic thinking in 1983. And they literally and utterly failed miserably. You see now how they're sneakily hiding behind the cloak of the command structure of the NDC? That is exactly what they did. Hid behind the cloak back then in 83, behind the cloak of the RMC command structure. And then sent young Grenadian men and women to face the greatest army in the world. And some of them never came back. While they sneakily hid behind the command structure of the RMC, they had 13 and 14-year-old boys at Pearl's Airport facing one of the most advanced armies in the world, while they supported anti-aircraft fire and provided security element. This is what they did to our youth. And today, in a very sneakily way, they're hiding behind the NDC command structure and trying to do the same thing in a different way to our youth. They're trying again to lead our youth along a path of destruction. These people, in some respects, are enemies of the youth of Grenada. Again, in the attacks in Bouchejou, where were these people? They sneakily hid again behind the cloak of the RMC command structure. Where were these people? Where were these people? When young men of the Carnage and Green Street area mobilized together with the lieutenant from Tongue, God rest his soul, and went to counterattack at Bouchejou. Where were these people? Where were these men when the young men from Grand Roy, 16 to 18-year-olds, lost their life at Bouchejou because of reckless command? Where were these people? Where were these people when Blundell Church lost his life in the South? God rest his soul. I'm making the parallels to show you again that it was the youth, young men of Grenada, that sacrificed their life to satisfy the egos of these very same people who are today trying to sacrifice the lives of the youth of Grenada to satisfy the megalomaniac egos. Today again, they are trying to sacrifice the youth of Grenada to satisfy the megalomania. Can't you see the pattern of behavior here, my people? And they're hiding again behind the cloak of the NDC command structure. This is what they're doing. They've infiltrated the NDC command structure so they can engage again in evil actions. And this time it's even worse, because back then they pretended that they were against some sort of colonialism, neo-colonialism. They were anti-colonialism. But now they've actually formed an alliance with white globalist, neo-colonialist demons to try to hijack and to destroy the youth of Grenada. And you may wonder why I'm so vocal about this. Because I want you to clearly see the parallels between what happened then and what is happening now. These people have a history of sacrificing the souls of the Grenadian youth. And now they have the ability or the possibility with this bill to sacrifice the souls of the Grenadian youth en masse. En masse. One sweep. So while you're extremely vocal about sarcasm coming on your shows, you're asleep on this issue. You're not vocal when you should be, because this is even more deadly coming to your shows than sarcasm coming to your shows. This is more deadly. This can impact over 60,000 people, young people. So this is a lethal, deadly threat. I am vocal about this because I understand. I know the youth don't know. The youth of Grenada do not understand. The very people who are facilitating them, they themselves don't know. They don't understand these people. And you, people, grown people who know this, you sit down like sheep and you allow these people again, just like you did in 1983. When you saw the storm coming and you did nothing. Again, today, you're sitting down instead of being vocal and taking a stand and protecting the Grenadian youth. You sit there again and repeat the mistakes of history past. You say nothing. History, I'm telling you, grown people, the people who should know better, history would be unkind to you guys. History would be unkind to you guys. Here you have an opportunity in the early stages, okay, to right this wrong, to avoid the Grenadian youth being led like sheep down a path of destruction, literal destruction. And you again, the grown people of this society, sit back and say nothing. You have lost your moral compass. You have lost all integrity, but I know you're so intoxicated with the niceties of life that you don't care and you don't have no time and you're not interested. And you see, you watch, and you see all you go astray. And you say and you do nothing. You see 60,000 plus of our young people being sold in a package deal to NGOs and white, liberal, globalist demons. And you sit there and you say nothing. You are nothing but cowards. You've been cowards pre-83. And again, you're cowards. You have an opportunity now to challenge us, to make your voices be heard. I'm appealing actually to you, the NDC followers, the people with conscience within the NDC, the people who are NDC followers with conscience. I'm appealing to you that you should appeal to your representatives and say, no, I am not interested. No, I am not going for this. No, this is the wrong path. I'm appealing to you. And even the NNP followers sit there. And then you wonder why that the NDC have so much traction. I guarantee you, if this was an NNP government in power, the NDC people and followers would have been in the streets. They would have been protesting. They would have been making their voices heard. But you, NNP followers, you're there. You're just there. You're just there. So I am appealing. This should be bipartisan. Okay? This should be bipartisan. I am appealing to NDC followers with conscience. I am appealing to NNP followers with conscience that this is one opportunity you have where you can merge on something that is so significant that you can agree on this and you can make your voices be heard and you can reverse this disastrous course. I want you to understand you can stop the deliverance of a victory to socialist Marxists. You have an opportunity, a market opportunity, critical opportunity, once in a lifetime to regain your dignity and to say no to this bill. And on a final note of the lack of strategic thinking of these people who are trying to fool you and make you feel that there was some master strategist in 1983. The only thing they were good at, sending young men into an ambush in Calais. Because they deluded themselves into believing, after all they did to Morris and his colleagues, that the Cubans would help them defend the airport. That is how unstrategic in thinking these people are. Okay? So don't let them fool you. Don't let them fool you into believing that there's some master strategist. And if you deliver this victory to them, then they will delude themselves again into believing that there's some master strategist. And the only master strategist for Grenadian people. But I want you to give them a dose of reality. I want you to let them understand that you have grown. You have matured in your thinking. You've become wiser. and you would not be taken for a ride again. So, depending on what you do, history would remember that day. And depending on what you do, history will be kind or unkind to you.